Well, good morning, friends. Welcome to another day of Light for the Journey as we continue our walk through holy times of Lent and as we prepare for Easter. Was thinking a little bit about a conversation I had with a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago. We were talking and just sort of thinking about all that's happened the last couple of years and the things that our churches have had to do and organizations and how some have thrived, some have not, and what was that about? And Dennis said, one of the hard things is how much a person has a learning curve. In other words, how much they're able to do new things and try new things often determines their resilience in the midst of something. And I thought that was an interesting perspective, especially thinking about Lent and the journey that we're on, about how much are we learning. A while back, I asked a question probably about 7 or 8 months into the pandemic on one of my Facebook posts, and this got a huge response. I asked the question, I said, what's going well in your life? In other words, what's working in your life? And it jarred some people because they hadn't really thought about that. They'd been focused on all the challenges, but didn't realize some things that had changed for them. And a lot of people were commenting, we had a lot more time with family. We were a lot less rushed. I finally had time to do some things I'd always wanted to do around the house, or I had a chance, I've had this slower time I've been able to study, or, and the disruptions that we've been through have really adjusted and changed things for us. And, but I think that question about what's our learning curve and what's our ability to move into new things. If we think about in the Gospels, one of the things that's a challenge, and we're going to hear a little bit about this weekend in the readings, one of the challenges for a lot of people that were being pushed by Jesus was they were not learning anymore. In other words, they had gotten stuck in who they were. You hear that in the Sadducees and the Pharisees and others that are challenging Jesus and the perceptions that he's offering around how we love each other. It shows up in things like, they're trying to catch him for doing something wrong on the Sabbath, or different things like that. But I think that there's something about this spiritual capacity for learning that is an important piece to all of us as we're seeking to integrate. So, as you know, this week has been a lot of music for us because we were in New York doing music with Asher's group. Yo-Yo Ma is one of my favorite musicians for all kinds of reasons. One is just an amazing, cellist, and it has an amazing ability in his musicality, but also he's just a really articulate speaker. And he wrote down something I thought was interesting. I don't always have a 5-year plan. One thing you must do in life is keep your learning curve as high as possible. One of the key things about learning music, if you're not a musician, that's okay, you can go along with this. Learning anything really is you practice something over and over again. So if you're learning an instrument, you practice scales, you practice form, you practice the different things that you do with that. And when you're learning as a musician, and even when you get really good at it, you're always learning new patterns and new ways of playing and new ways of interpreting pieces. And we don't think about that. If you do athletics, it's the same thing. If you're practicing basketball, for instance, you learn how to take a shot, you learn how to do this, and eventually, you can learn how to dribble differently or take a slightly different move that surprises your opponent, or different things like that, or even in business or any other thing that we do. The more we learn, the more we're able to do new and different things. I think part of our spiritual walk is we should always be open to the experiences around us and what God might be teaching us, and be careful not to get stuck in just the old ways. So as you go about your weekend, I hope you have some time to learn, to be open, and to be part of this amazing creation that God has given us. God bless. Take care, and talk to you soon.
Fill us with your love, show us how to serve the neighbors we have from you. kneels at the feet of his friends, silently washes their feet. Master who acts as a slave to them.
Yesu, Yesu, fill us with your love, show us how to serve the neighbors we have from you.
Neighbors are rich and poor, neighbors are black and white, neighbors are nearby and far away.
Yesu, Yesu, fill us with your love, show us how to serve the neighbors we have from you.
These are the ones we should serve. These are the ones we should love. All our neighbors to us and you.
Yesu, Yesu, fill us with your love, show us how to serve the neighbors we have from you.
Loving puts us on our knee, serving as though we were slaves. This is the way we should live.